Okay, so moving along to a topic that everybody loves until they have to talk about it. So
Oh
you guys have
boy.
been married for 5 years. What do you know about sex that you'd wished you'd been told before getting married?
Um. All right, so from the look from the look on her face, you can tell who's more comfortable with this conversation and who isn't. All right. I'm an open book. So, what do I know about sex now? That I didn't know. How often it will happen?
Okay,
You
okay.
know. I think before you're young and your idea of marriage is either what you're seeing in the house, in your household. And I grew up with a single mom.
Mm.
So, my thing with marriage was I wanted to work. That was the first thing. Um, but the sex part, it's once again what you probably saw on TV or whatever, and you're seeing these couple on TV and they're having sex. Nobody tells you that, hey man, listen, you're gonna be days where it's probably gonna be once a week, or maybe once every 2 weeks, or maybe twice a month. So growing up, when you're younger, you're like, man, I can't wait to get married. I'm gonna have sex all the time. you know and then you get married and you be like, uh, all right, so are we gonna do this tonight or what? And then, so I think my sex drive is higher than hers.
Hmm.
Is that a fair statement? I don't want to assume for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
All
yeah.
right, good. So I can make that statement. I think my sex drive is higher than hers. And for me, I'm like, all right, babe, at least I think we can do this like maybe 4 times a week. And if and for me, I think I'm being nice when I say 4 times a week, right? But I understand the
Work.
yeah, I understand, the reason, whatever. Um, we both are parents, we both working, you're tired, right? And like I said, I love my wife. Yeah, so I think the expectation, before you get married is that, this is gonna happen so often, but then you get married and then you start a life together and you understand that, all right, I know my baby working. I know that she's like, we have the 7 month old and he is up like 3 times a night.
Hmm.
And he's on her side of the bed in the bassinet. So she's the one that rolls over to, all right, put a pacifier in his mouth so that he can goes back to sleep, and then he's up again, and then she puts the pacifier back in the mouth, and then, or the bottle. So I get it. She's tired.
Hmm.
But I'm just saying, can a brother get some loving a little bit more often?
Let's hear from her. Oh.
Oh, this is tired. Okay,
Hmm.
tired. And I feel like I feel like as the woman, sometimes you take on more than the man.
Mhm.
So it's easy to be like, oh, we do 4 times a week. Okay, but at the same time, when Grayson is screaming his head off in the middle of the night, sometimes he'll get up, but sometimes what you doing? You roll over under that blanket, getting good sleep. When that alarm go off in the morning, who feel refreshed?
Okay.
Last night, I didn't even hear him crying. Wow, he was crying that loud. Yes, yes. And then who got to go at 8 o'clock in the morning? Log on. I'm at work now, so
Hmm.
I'm at work, and I got a few hours of sleep.
Hmm.
Then in the middle of the night too, I have my toddler, who for he loves to run to his dad and play and daddy, let's jump, daddy. Well, anytime it's nighttime or he going through something, all you heard is,
Mommy.
you don't know your daddy then? You call your mommy. Then I
Mommy.
go. So I'm waking up in the middle of the night, just to check on him because I have the baby monitor for
Yeah.
him too. I go check on him. In between Grace and his crying. Then I work. Then I'm just dealing with, just making sure everything works. So my energy level
Yeah.
and I'm still coming off of postpartum, and I felt like I did
Yeah.
have a little bit of postpartum depression, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say
So,
I'll say this, that I do understand all of that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you know, I'll say it over and over. I know her value in this household,
Mm.
right? And it's true. Sometimes I promise you, it's not intentional that I don't respond to the kids. Like I think there was this one time she walked into the room. It's just me and the baby in the bed, and the baby is bawling. Like you probably at your house and you can hear him. But I was right there and I did not hear, you know what I mean? So it's sometimes I you know, I'm so deep into this REM sleep that, you know what I mean?
Well, quick question. I have to ask.
But
You taking pills before you sleep or something? You
I don't know, Stan. You know, I always say that the mother's ear for a baby cry, it's different than a father. You know, they like we'll be down here and he's upstairs, and I'm like, and she's like, yeah, I'm like, no, he's not. Yes, he is. And you go upstairs and he's just waiting for somebody to walk into the room. You know what I mean? So yeah, I get it. I get it. And I'll tell people all the time, I think that your marriage is like a job, where you got to put in the work if you want something out of it. Like you want a promotion, you're going to work hard for your promotion.
Love it.
Right? And if you want your marriage to work, you got to work at it as though it's your job. Like, I'm not a morning person, but when the alarm goes off and I got to go into work for 7, I'll get up. You know, like you're not just gonna be like, you know, not today and then not today and not today and not today and not today. You are gonna put in the work.
You get fired.
Yeah.
Literally.
And no matter how tired you are, I don't feel like working today. You know, you have to go in. You have to. They're paying you for that time. So I believe that your marriage is like a second job. And for me, I am sex. It's not a selfish thing. It's supposed to be a connection between a husband and a wife. So when the Bible talks about two becoming one, you know, it's all right, let us be one. Let's be in one accord, right? So if we're gonna partake in this beautiful act, I think we both need to be on the same level in terms of where we are emotionally. You know, I don't want her to just lay there and be like, all right, bro, do your thing. You know, you know, for me, I don't get no pleasure out of that. I want you to enjoy what we're doing. And even with saying that, I'm like, come on, we can do it a little bit more often though.
All right. So we kind of jumped into the next question already.
Yeah.
On parenting, because a couple of times right now you brought up the 2 kids on the 3 and managing them. So coming from different countries, Guyana and Jamaica, how's that affected your parenting styles? You know, as in, has there been an area of conflict with your parenting? You want to do this, and you're like, this is how I saw this. This is what's going to happen, or I don't want to do this. And another person, if that has happened, can you let us know and how you're managing?
No, there's no conflict. I listen. I promise you, when I tell people that my wife and I, we don't argue, we'll get annoyed at each other, but we don't argue. You know, and it's about anything. I mean, once in a while, we, you know, like she says, "Oh my gosh, you like a big brother," and that's because I get on her nerve. You know, but it's not as though we're mad at each other or anything like that. And when it comes to the kids, we both want the same thing for our children.
Yeah.
Disciplinarian.
Okay.
Nurturer.
So,
like she said earlier, in the middle of the night when my son wants some loving, he's not gonna call daddy. No matter how much daddy loves him, he's mommy. And I'm like, all right, he wants his mommy. You don't want daddy. If he calls me, I'll go. You know, but right now he's calling for mommy. So your son is calling. Right? There are times where, like, for instance, if my son does something, I think it was just the other night, it was time for him to either go to bed or go take a bath. And it's like, okay, DJ, upstairs. And he, no, or
I don't want
I don't want
That's
to.
his new thing.
Mm.
I don't want to.
Or he will start crying. So the dad voice, hey, up. And the crying breaks mommy's heart. Right? So mommy now wants to go hug. And I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. There was instruction given, let's not seem as though we're rewarding bad behavior. No, this is what we need you to do. So let but it's not a fight. We don't fight about stuff like that. She understands that, hey, this is your role. And I would say, a lot of people be like, oh, you need men in your life boys need men in their life to be, to be men. I don't always agree with that statement because I was raised by a single mother, and I always say I turned out pretty decent, and from her experience, I know what I want to instill in my son, right? Respect for their mom, respect for women, and so on and so forth. But I don't think there's anything that we battle about, despite our our differences in where we were raised.
And both roles are needed. Both
absolutely. Yeah, kids need a balance to be well rounded. And they'll have tantrums. That's what kids do. It doesn't mean that they're bad kids.
And I was just going to say I don't want to. It doesn't it doesn't go away that easily. We have a 12-year-old and you're like, can you go to bed? I don't want to. I'm like, it doesn't matter what you want though.
What you want.
Not that it doesn't matter, but at this point in time, bed is what we need to do. You saying you don't want to, how is that adding to the conversation? But I think they just want to say it, that's their way of setting their own,
and the funny thing about
every single time, it's like, I don't want to. I'm like,
sometimes me and my mom would have these comments to each other, because sometimes I'll tell her, oh, like the other day, DJ, my 3-year-old, I call him my best friend, right? But somebody gets jealous when I call him my best friend. So we were in the kitchen and something happened, and I think I probably did this, like go or whatever, and he turned around and he's like, say sorry. And I'm like, I can't remember ever telling my parents to tell me sorry when I was little. Like, who are you to tell me to tell you sorry? But I told him sorry. I'm like, I'm sorry. He didn't appreciate it because I can't fully understand his emotion or what he's feeling. He felt like I did something wrong. Maybe, Daddy, you shouldn't have touched me. Don't touch me. Use your words. I'm like, all right, cool.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm sorry, DJ. And he's like, okay. And then he walked off and went into the room. So I'll tell you that I feel like my eldest and I have more of a bond. Grayson, that's a mama's boy. He is a mom. Like, I'm in the room and he don't even care about me. I got like yesterday, my wife is getting ready and him and I are in the bed, and he don't care that I'm there. Like, he's just looking for his mom and crying. And as soon as she picks him up, it's like,
he'll just be looking at his father like,
yeah, like, this is what I wanted, man. Like, just give me what I want. Like, I don't care about you. Like, give me my mother.
Oh, nice. Okay, so
I'm gonna merge it too. Okay.
So community religion. I heard you saying that your wife's friend, right, helped you with the proposal and all of that. So my question is, and again, I know, from the islands, we're also from Nigeria, we have a very collectivist thing of we're all in this together, right? So how has community played a role, and religion for you, right? How putting those two together, how has that helped you in your journey so far?
I feel like the religion is much easier when you have the same religion, because then you have like the same viewpoints. You're not like trying to compete or like, oh, but I want this. It's like, okay, we have common ground. And then when it comes to a community, when you have kids, it's appreciated. My mom is in Florida. When she comes up to like stay for a few weeks at a time, you can feel like, oh, there's help in the house. And then I mean, he's helping, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to go somewhere or do something, you don't have to be like, okay, got the kids. Like it's just nice to have a break. And then when it comes to childcare is expensive. So it's nice when we have like family that can help a little bit and watch. Like, so we've been able to have help. So it makes a difference. It does. When you have people that can be like, okay, I have some time, I can help you this week, or I can help you for this next few months. But then it's helpful because sometimes I know I have people that they don't really have that same situation, so it's harder. So,
Thank
and
you
that just puts a strain. That'll put a strain on your marriage right there. Because it's just like you already stressed out, and now you don't have no help. And then everybody, no offense, everybody wants you to have kids. Oh, you're having the baby. Oh, when you're having this girl. I'm like, where you guys gonna be when the child needs to watch these kids? Where are you? Where are you that wanted a girl? Where are you? It's time to watch these kids. So I'm just saying, like, you need help.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. For me, I think both are equally as important. I believe when the word says, "Be ye not unequally yoked," it's very important that we heed those words, because the person that you marry will either make you or break you, right? And like I mentioned before, we're both Seventh-day Adventist Christians. So we believe in the Sabbath. We believe in the 7-day Sabbath. And the doctrine that we share, it's both we both hold that to heart, right? So it's something that we both don't have to battle on. All right, what are we gonna do with the kids? There's gonna come a time like where my kids probably might want to take part in sports, and they'll have to understand, like, listen, from sunset on Friday to sunset on Saturday, that's the Sabbath. This is what we do, right? And I can't say that we're prepared to handle that battle yet, because it's so hard sometimes to tell your kids no for something that they want to do or that they're passionate about, right? And then I think also with religion, it's important to lay that foundation in your children's life. Train up your child in the way of the Lord is important for me and for my wife, right? When they're old enough to make decisions for themselves, they should be able to say, okay, this is what I was taught. And whatever decisions they want to make as someone who can make a conscious decision, they'll be able to say, okay, this is where I am. This is what I want to do. Maybe I might not be okay with every decision that they'll make, but if when God created the earth, he gave us a will to choose, who am I to take that away from
them? I love it.
From them, right? So make your decision, and whatever decisions you make, the consequences around those decisions are on you. Like my brother was telling, I'm like, look, when God created the earth, he told Adam and Eve, do not eat of the forbidden fruit, right? He could have taken away their will and just, peaches and cream, right? But they made a decision, and now the consequences of their decision is sin and working hard. And I really have to have a conversation with Adam and Eve when I go to heaven. I'm like, man, you guys just had one direction. Don't eat. Like, look how hard we got to work and all this other stuff, right? I'm excited that we're both on the same page with that. And I tell people all the time, like, when I was choosing her to be my life partner, I remember one of my uncles who passed away last year. He said, nephew, when looking for a wife, not a girlfriend, a wife, find a woman who independently depends on God.
Good stuff. What was that tweet you just said? As
find a person who is independently dependent on God. I love it.
Yeah, I can take that on to the back. All right, so the final question we have for you, or final 3-pronged question, is on love languages. So what would you say are your love languages, and how do you fill each other's love tank? And the last question on this is that would you say having kids has morphed those love languages?
Okay, for me, mine, I am words of affirmation and acts of service.
Aww.
Yeah, I think that those are like.
Can I say that I mean, I know women, would say all five, but most times it's the men who say words of affirmation, right? Most times the women typically acts of service kind of, ranks high. So tell us how you meet her love language, Devon. Words of affirmation.
So I know the woman, right? If she gets dressed, she wants me to tell her that she's pretty. And I feel, if I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I fall short of that. You know what I mean? And it's easy sometimes to take your partner for granted. Dev, you gotta do better. You gotta do better. And that's knowing yourself and understanding who your partner is, right? So yeah, I know that, like, for instance, if you see her nails right now, they're like on fleek, right? And then she'd be like, do you like my nails? Do you like my nails? Do you think they're pretty? Do you think they're pretty? And it's hey, listen, this is what I did for myself, and I want to hear from my husband that that I'm pretty, and then it plays a part into that sex life too, because if you put things into her and you invest in her, I think you're going to be more willing and feel confident to just give yourself to your husband. So it's, for me, that's a work in progress. That's a work in progress. I don't always meet that quota, but I know it's a work in progress. And I know that she look forward to date night and stuff like that. And then I'll pretend as though I don't, I'm ignoring her. And she don't even know I got something planned for her, something real nice, and she'll enjoy it. I know she'll enjoy it, because I know she enjoys the simple things that helps us to connect. So, that's where we are. I think for me, my love language is physical touch.
She's like, yes.
Right? It's physical touch. And gifts, right?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, and
sneakers, man. And sneakers.
And sneakers, yeah.
And how do you feel his love tanks? With the gifts.
Well, the physical touch, that one is, I will say, also a work in progress, because the 4 times a week, that's just, he's up there. So I definitely.
Okay.
So that one is like, you just have to it's like, okay, I'm not meeting that one yet, because I feel like it's just a lot.
Yep.
But with gift giving, definitely, like, I'll do it. Like, if I hear he says he wants something, I'll at least ask around, like, ask his cousin who he talks about, like, what do you think you like? So I'll know, like, when he opened the box.
All right.
When he opened the box, at least I know that it's something he wants. So it's not like I'm gonna go on Amazon and get him something that he don't want. I'm gonna go get him his sneakers that he could, like, on Christmas, jump up and down like a little kid and run around, because that makes him happy.
You've given him a secret now, so keep talking to the cousin.
I know who I gotta keep my secrets away from.
No, I mean, are you happy when you open?
I am. You're right. You're right.
Do you guys think having kids changed that, or is it pretty much the same thing?
I think kids have enhanced our family. They have. However, at the same time, I think that it adds something that I don't want to say burden. It's not a burden. It's add I don't even want to say a strain, but it makes it a little bit more
harder to meet.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if it's physical touch.
Yeah.
You was all day with children and you're tired, which is fine.
Yeah. So
it'll be like, you want to make that person happy too. You want to be happy. But sometimes it's like, it's gonna be a little different.
So I'm gonna share something and watch her face, right? So the other night, I knew it was physical touch time, right? Because she shows her signs when it's time for physical touch, right? So I already knew I'm prepared mentally and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, it's about to go down. Now, mind you, we do have a 7-month-old that sleeps in the room with us. And I don't know if he knew it was physical touch time, but this boy would not go to sleep. It was just like every time Joe would turn to me, he would make a sound. I'm like, listen, man, we're not trying to give you a brother or sister anytime soon, okay? We're just trying to have some us time, you know? And he would, and you turn, you put a pacifier in the mouth, you make him a bottle, whatever, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, you know, so stuff like that, it's what takes the shared experience where, because I know she's always in mom mode, so he's just like taking away my time. Like, I'll let you have your time. Come on, just can I have my time, please? Let's say her and I, we want to go out, or we used to go to, like, we'll go to Manhattan and spend the weekend or whatever. Now we got to find childcare, you know, and then mom is always thinking about kids. Like, are they okay? Like, should I call? You know,
we used to do a lot of staycations. Now it's, I don't know. We haven't done that in a while because it's like it's not that easy to be like 2 kids who watches.
Yeah, yeah. But I think just like
Things
you were
change.
saying that they grew up so fast. Like, I feel like this is seasonal, right? I think that's where we come from to say it's seasonal. The question is, are you going to let yourself fall into, you know, a rut, right? And that you can't really pull yourself out of, because we humans, we are so adaptable. Like, you just like, I don't want to go. And then it becomes a pattern of behavior that then impacts the marriage. But it doesn't look like that's the thing. But I'm just saying, like, we knew we had those times too. The only difference was we said we were not going to allow a baby in our room. So even if waking up like 100 times to go out, like, we just set that standard from the beginning. It was not easy, but that was the one thing. We only had him like the first month.
First kid, but by the time the kid came,
we just put
like, oh, not happening.
Listen, I'm ready to kick him out. I am ready to kick him out.
And another value that we had was traveling. You know, we like to travel, see different places. So I think the youngest one, I think like 6 months, we got on a plane with him.
Yes. On a plane. But the trip, the 5-6 hours, he was 3 months old.
Yeah, 3 months old. Put him in a car to drive to, I think, Atlanta or Georgia, something like that. So we're like, okay, come in. And then, like, right now, those guys with flight or any type of travel, they're like, okay, let's go. And now, I mean, they're much older now, but from that younger age, we did our best to say, okay, we'll
incorporate them into our life.
Because like, you end up getting mad at them. You get them mad at them. They're spoiling your fun. And before you came, we used to do all this stuff, and then now
they still say, they're like, Mom and Dad, we know before we came, you all used to have so much fun. I'm like, we're still having fun, just a different
Yeah.
We want to turn the mic on you guys now. What question do you have for us on the Grey Couch? We normally like to end with that because we've been hitting you guys with questions left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what questions do you have for us on the Grey Couch?
Your parenting dynamic. You know, I can tell that Stanley, like, I'm watching your body language, and Stanley is just there. He's quiet. He's listening. You know, you're more of a. I see your hands moving, and you're so engaged. Who's the disciplinarian? If I had to guess, I would say Mom. Looks like she is the disciplinarian. If I had to guess,
and you'd be correct. You'd be correct. It's interesting. From the surface, I might raise my voice, or I might sound stern, but they're really not afraid of me. Mom won't raise her voice. She might not even look at you. She might just ignore you. And then they run out. Let's quickly take it. You know, that might be how it goes. I might raise my voice and say some 3 times, repeat myself, and that's just.
It's funny because I feel like I tell my children, I don't talk, I act. So don't let me act. Let's not get to the point where I act, right, in that sense. But, you know, you got to a point where they'll say, what was that song they used to sing? Moms mean dad's fun or something ridiculous. Oh, yeah, I'll take my meanness any day. I'm trying to save you a life of trouble. Yeah. But the funny thing is, despite what he says, they come looking for me, right? It's like, it's in right here. I mean, if only we were in the house, you'll see this dynamic happen. And they're like, Mom, my finger. Mom, what are we having for breakfast? So it's like, for them, they understand that the disciplinary, it comes with it's the whole package, right?
It's a whole package, yeah.
Yeah, you get the whole package.
Yeah. And I think for me, I think discipline is important with our children.
Yeah.
Because if we can't teach them discipline at home and they got to learn it in the streets, it could be very severe.
Very costly.
You know.
Yeah.
Are you guys the spare the rod type of parents?
No, they get consequences. They not when I say, let me tell you, when they were even what did they used to say? They say like they couldn't pronounce consequences, but they knew what it meant.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, because I think for us growing up, like for me, and I had this conversation with my mom. I'm like, listen, I don't regret any of the discipline that you know. Like my mom, she put it on me, boy, you know? And then when I look at my kids, I'm like, it's so hard, you know, because you want your kids to have a different.
Yeah. I'll tell you, consequences means different things in terms of, I just feel like depending on the age of the child, different things. Like right now, consequences means no devices, right?
Yeah.
These children will probably say, give me something on my hand and take a device for me.
A pow. Yeah. Because the device is more a heartbreak.
So for me, that's what I meant by consequences. Like, you know, sometimes it's you're sitting in timeout or we're not going to go to a place. Like, so something is attached to it, and whatever is attached is immediate. So you're not forgetting what happened. I'm not going to then say 1 week later, we're not going to, you know, the beach because of what you did last week. The child is probably like, what happened last week? So it's typically, you know, a very immediate thing. And I'll tell you, this is even with the school, right? Like when we're talking about the cost of not applying that discipline at home, you know, I tell them, I said, you all have to work with us, right? You cannot like be in school doing this weird things and then at the end you push it back on the family and say, you know, maybe like you're too strict. Literally, that's what the school is trying to say. And I'm like, but you don't have my family dynamic, so you cannot be telling me how, you know, strict I should be or whatever. It's like, I'm telling you, this thing goes in the report, like mom and dad make them work a lot. Like it's what is the work? Just in the summertime you get to do schoolwork. That's the thing that is so hard. And I'm like,
2 hours of schoolwork during the summer before they can get to go out and go play. And then we hear the teacher go, and then but it sets them off. So he finishes 3rd grade. So during summer, we're doing 4th grade work
already.
2 hours a day before you go out and play. And then we hear from the school, oh, you guys are too strict. But then they get an A's in class and you're wondering how it just happened, you know?
The big picture, you know, look how well my kids are performing because we have instilled this in them, you know, and I don't like that, you know, like you said, your family dynamic, that's what works for you guys. That's what you want for your children. But we have, I don't want to say strangers, but others who are telling, you know, like, hey, how dare you have a say in how I raise my children? You know, they're not being abused. So this is how we love them.
Hard work never, you know, made anybody
hurt anybody. That's right. So,
I mean, in that sense, but again, you have to kind of temper, right? Because you're in a society where they have to go to school. But otherwise, I'm like, you all don't make me start homeschooling.
Oh man, yes, definitely.
But that's it.
So there you have it, guys. The Simons, loads of nuggets, and they will be back. They will be back. But we wanted to close with the sign on their back wall. I think it's just apt for what the real secret ingredient is. So the secret ingredient is love.
It's love. Yep, that's right. That's right.
So much. We really appreciate it.
Our couch to you guys.
No problem.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.